Hi. Feel free to say hello in the live chat popping on. Hi. Oh. Hi, Megan. I'm just letting my team know that we're live. So lovely to see everyone popping on. Thanks for taking a few minutes to come together in prayer and meditation and a conversation. Yeah, great. Yes, I'm so happy that we're all finding. How's everyone doing? I just ran home from my last appointment, and I've been keeping my eye on the news and just was really feeling how much everyone is going through as we witness what's unfolding in this these very pivotal times. So I wanted to I realized I really wanted to demonstrate something today that would be an important part of our prayer. Sarah's writing in that she's feeling on the edge, and I really want to honor that a lot of people are feeling that way. So thanks for sharing that, Sarah. Ashley's writing in and she's saying, I'm nervous, but I was on cloud 9 yesterday. Today she's feeling a lot of anxiety. And I just want to say, Ashley, thank you for your authentic share. Everything that you're feeling is normal and natural, given how much anxiety and fear that the collective consciousness of humanity is feeling right now. Christine is writing in that she's keeping the faith that the divine light will prevail. Yes, agreed. I also want us to understand as light workers that when we move from spiritual infancy into spiritual maturity, we have to gain a more expansive understanding of what it means for the divine will and for the order of light to be unfolding at this time. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to jump on YouTube Live today and just really offer a perspective for us as I've often talked about how we've all been sent here as angels in human form on an angelic mission to help humanity survive and thrive beyond the thousands of years of enslavement that it has no idea that it's enslaved to. Like, most of humanity has no idea that it's living in a matrix that's overlaid on this planet that is keeping billions of souls enslaved to very dark agendas on this planet. And it's interesting because, a couple of years ago when I tried to explain that to people, nobody wanted to hear it. But everybody's been in their house now for, 6 to 8 months on global lockdown, and people are watching a lot of YouTube videos. People are, really digging on a whole new level to really understand what's happening right now and what's been happening for a very long time. And so what I have found in my personal journey as a light worker, and also navigating the incredible amount of atrocities that I've survived here on this planet, and coming into a very heart-centered space of service, no matter what I survived, my prayer was to radiate the light of Sofia God. My prayer was to be an ambassador for the masters of light that are watching over us. It's just like, that's always been my prayer. And to gather as many of us who feel the same way, that no matter what we've survived, that we're going to choose to carry this resonance, to create the space for this resonance of Christ consciousness, also known as Buddha consciousness, to sweep this world and create the potential space for humanity to choose something much higher than what humanity has been setting its frequency point to. Now, I've been holding back from talking a little bit more about the different matrices and structures because I never want to freak anybody out, but I know that there's a good way to do this in a way that's going to be empowering and educational, so that we can all get some perspective on what's happening on this planet right now, far beyond an election. And I'm just going to share just a little bit. Remember how on the 7 days of Mother Mary, I made some funny drawings to help illustrate a little bit of what I was sharing about the oversoul. And I'm going to do a little sketch here I'm just going to have to end up getting like a board to do this on, so it's easier. But I want you to imagine here we have Earth, right? And we have billions of humans. Okay? And we have there's the planet, and then there's a matrix of programmed belief systems that create the physical reality that you and I are living in. And so let's say this is the matrix that most of the population of humanity is interfacing with on this earth, right? Sorry, I know it's a little doing my best here. But I need you to understand that there's an entirely other world of a matrix. And this matrix is run by beings. I'm just going to be very careful about how I do this here. This matrix is influencing, and what's really empowered over this matrix that most humans choose to abide in. So you've got this other matrix, and there's a door here. Okay? There's a door into this matrix, but the only people that can ever get into this matrix are the people that are running this matrix or enslaved by this matrix. Okay? So this matrix is fueled by Luciferian satanic rituals and power structures and figures that are literally plugging into everything that we think is real here, okay, in our matrix. Most human beings hit the edges of this matrix that they think is the only world, and they are limited. This is like the glass ceiling of what you're told, of the money that you can make, the power that you can have, the influence that you can have. And honestly, even the technology that we have access to in this matrix is so far behind the technology that exists in this matrix. The resources that exist in this matrix, what the people, the elite, have in this matrix is so far beyond most humans' understanding. And it literally makes our world look like we are living in the dark ages. Like between what we have access to in medicine, science, food, nutrients, what they have is beyond, it's like hundreds of years ahead of what we think is our leading edge technology. We are just dripped down, like literally things are just dripped down enough to keep us in a place where we are strong enough to be slaves for this world. Now, I know that's some pretty intense talk, but I'm not saying this to freak anyone out. I'm saying this because what the Sophia Code teaches us is that you, as a human being, can break through this glass matrix, right? Because we talked about this in the 7 days of Mother Mary, that your soul is an eternal field of light, right? You have your oversoul, which is your sovereign divinity. This is what I discovered when I was a slave in this world, okay? How was it possible that I kept having near-death experiences from the atrocities that I was surviving? How was it possible that I could keep coming back into my body? And the reason was, from the moment I came into this world, I knew about how to travel back and forth beyond these matrices, back to the light of my divinity and the light of God. All right? And it wasn't something anybody taught me. It was something that was inside my heart. And it was why I knew I would survive the mission that I was being sent to survive. And the angels and the masters would guide me over and over again beyond this matrix, which was influencing this matrix. Now, if you have questions about How on earth can they get away with like millions of souls being trafficked on our planet? It's because there's two matrices, right? It's like there's this matrix that they are shipping humans into, sometimes off planet, but mostly it's just happening to support this power structure here. So the reason why I'm sharing this is that it's important to understand that when we are faced with this level of political theater, I'm not saying, I don't want anyone to think like if voting is, if it's empowering for you and you feel like you're making a significant difference, I believe in you and I believe in your dharma to do that. It's important to understand though, that everything, I'm sorry to tell you this, but I'm sorry, not sorry. Everything in this world that we think is our reality is informed, encoded, and influenced by this matrix. The only way for us to operate beyond the influences and the ideologies and the puppets that are put into power to keep this matrix going as a slave system of resources, not just human resources, gold resources, organs, harvesting organs, like all resources on this planet are feeding into this system. There's not a you could have millions of people vote and it's not going to break down this system. You have to understand everyone in power is being manipulated and controlled by this system. Very good people that run for office, that want to make a significant difference in this world, they eventually get the visit in the middle of the night from the people of this world. And that's what happens. They end up getting entrapped and enslaved to this system, even beyond their own understanding. Very often it's a blackmail situation. So I want everyone to understand that when we're voting for people in power, you're literally just picking between, honestly, no matter how well-meaning these people are, even if you believe one of these people can really make a difference, and even if they could, they can only take it so far, because ultimately they're not in control. This matrix is. So this is why we talk about in the Sophia Code that we have to birth a new world that goes beyond anything that we have here, because this dynamic will keep us so ignorant and so enslaved for centuries to come. If you think fighting the good fight here is how this gets resolved, it's not how it gets resolved. It's just going to keep us in the same story that we've been living in for honestly thousands of years. So this is the way. You have to activate the divine genome within you, which is why I spent my entire life sacrificing everything. The first half of my life, choosing to live enslavement to this matrix so that I could understand how this works here, how this world works, which then plunged me into so much darkness that I had to reach into so much light within me that I could discover this within me, and then discover how to articulate this within me for all of us. So when you activate the divine genome within you, what happens? And I know it works because I had to practice it. I had to do it on myself first. I had to unravel all of the programming, all of the systems that had brought me to complete abject terror and enslavement myself in this world. As a child, you don't have a choice but to do what they say in this world. There's no other way to survive. And most people don't survive it. The only reason I survived it is because I knew I could. And that's why I chose to go into this world. And then when you get kicked out of this world and you get sent here, there's no going back unless they take you back. There's no way back. There's no way to prove. So many people are like, why don't you go? Why don't you go and tell all the government officials about what you survived? You think I haven't tried? Number one. And number two, they laugh in your face. 100%, because those at the highest level know they're not really in charge. And in fact, most of those agencies are completely in service to this other matrix. So you got to understand, when you activate, you as this human, if you try to think you can take on all of this by yourself, especially showing up to a voting booth, you're just feeding into what they want you to believe is the solution. And I'm not saying don't be an activist. If your activism is bringing hope to others, that's a worthy cause. But what I'm saying is there is something much bigger that's happening here. It's huge. And this is just a very rudimentary way to explain something that I could spend hours talking about, literally days on end. But that's not the point. The point is, I want to give you some information that's going to help you understand your angelic mission better and help you understand your prayer in a bigger light. Sterling is asking, is this global or just a few countries? I have to assure you, this is not national. This is global. 100%. They would love for you to think that this matrix is just influencing the US or Europe. Let me tell you, we do not, our national identities are simply cataloging systems for like your social security number or any number that identifies you by your government is simply a slave number, 100%. Now, does that mean you have to go crazy and buck everything in your normal reality? No, that's the last thing that you should do. What you should do is you should continue to thrive in this kindergarten world that they've shoved us all in with all of these glass ceilings. You should continue to live your best life and your best potential in that reality. And my prayer is that as many people as possible find out that they can activate the Sophia code within them, because once you activate the divine genome within you, I want to share something with you that's very, very important. If you get enough human beings on earth with an activated divine genome, right? What happens? This is a collective field that is dialed up to source. What does a collective field have the power to do? A collective field is what can create a new world that's interfacing with a planet and whoever has the highest vibrational resonance, and there's nothing higher than your sovereign divinity, that's the matrix that's going to win. Okay, that's the one that will overhaul and override all and will literally break the slave matrices of these systems. And it's not about fighting these systems or blowing them up or even like screaming about it in the streets, because that's not how. It's just a continuation of what's been happening for thousands of years. The Crusades, the Inquisitions, it's just like, there's 1,000 crusades and inquisitions by so many different names, and we have our modern ones right now, both in the full spectrum of politics right now. Let me tell you, every spectrum of the political scene right now is infiltrated. So please, before you think you're doing the world a huge favor by shouting on one side or the other, just slow down and just start praying for the highest outcome for everyone involved on both sides of the spectrum. Don't you dare start hating on either side, blue or red, Republican or Democrat, or anyone in between. That is not walking the way. The way is understanding we have the human race to save, not a political party. And very few people can understand that right now. Why? Because they're trapped in this particular matrix. They can't even think a thought outside of this matrix. That's how programmed they are to believe that this world is the only world that they live in. So you got to cut everybody some slack and take everybody off the hook and start praying with your whole heart for God's highest outcome for our planet and for humanity. That's what's up. That is what allows us, the more we travel back and forth to our source light, into the truth of our divinity, the more we create a collective resonance that becomes stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And by the way, what's interesting about the Sophia Code as a movement and as a resonance is that it's resonating directly from the source. So if this conversation, brings up a lot of fear for you, you've got to understand that if you are abiding directly in the source light, in your consciousness, and it takes practice, but you literally become invisible to your enemies, and you become visible to those who wish you well and who are working to build this world with you. You've got to understand that, like, when you are vibrating in seventh plane consciousness with your heart filled with divine love is actually invincible. Most of us do not really tune into divine love. We tune into some version of love that's not all the way directly from the source. So, and that's okay, because there's such a huge spectrum of love, right? But it's only the power of invincible divine love that we access directly from the source of all life. Like, think about the source of all life, Sophia, God. She created all the planets and all the species, whatever you call God, Holy Mother, Holy Father, God. They created everything out of unconditional love. And when you travel back to the source of that love, it gives strength and power to a whole new world. And it's a world where you have disengaged that world that we're creating based on the Sophia Code teachings. Its foundation is invincible divine love, which means you are unplugging from this matrix, literally unplugging. When you are plugged into this matrix, like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, that's what leaves you open to psychic attack. That's what leaves you open to these demonic influences. When you make the full leap and you commit it to be in your sobriety to the truth of your divinity, you don't give into the addictions. You don't give into the lies. You don't give into all the ways they try to shame you and make you feel bad about yourself and try to get you out of your center. When you choose to become centered in your divine light and centered into, your sovereign source connection every day, you begin to step into a reality that is completely invincible. As Jesus taught, you are in this world, but you are not of this world. It's very interesting because I had some teachers before I released the Sophia Code. I was being trained by some very, very powerful shamans before I released the Sophia Code. And there were two things that my teachers would constantly harp on me about over and over and over again. This one teacher in particular, she would always be like, you must absolutely practice the time of no time, which she was referring to a Hopi prophecy. And then the other thing she would say is, you must absolutely, it was the time of no time. Oh, and she said, you must absolutely practice being invisible. And I thought, being invisible? I was like, okay. And so we would practice this consciousness together, which was a different shamanic teaching that I took up higher into the seventh plane. And I practice that teaching now from the seventh plane. But and what that teaching was, what she was showing me, we would practice this in like shopping malls. And she would say, I want you to imagine that you are completely invisible to everyone in this room. And I thought, okay, sure, why not? And we would just sit in the mall together at a table in the middle of a food court or some public location. And people would literally start walking into us and not knowing that we were there. And, that's definitely something you should never practice while you're driving. But what it showed me was the power of our intention and the power of our thought to be able to influence our outer reality. But here's the thing. You cannot practice that from a space of fear, because a space of fear doesn't make you invisible to, the principalities of darkness that are in that other matrix, right? That's like a shamanic trick bag. It's not what's the full blown invisibility. What makes you truly invisible to those who would harm you, or impossible to harm in general, even if they can see you, is by dialing in and staying completely connected to the source. Beyond this world, it's returning. And that's why we practice that every day. We stand in our circle of light. We connect to the heart of the Mother Earth, not the matrix that's surrounding this earth. We connect to the heart of the Mother Earth. And then we dial into the source of all life, our Holy Mother, Holy Father God, right? Which, by the way, is always in communion with your higher self consciousness, your soul's consciousness. And so from that place, you are indeed invisible to those who would harm you, but you are invisible from a place of love, from a place of assurance, from a place of peace, from a place of being able to bless everyone and everything that's unfolding all around you. Do you see the difference? It's very important to practice the difference. That old way of being invisible, that's an old world shamanic trick or technique. And it's very useful. It's very interesting. But the source consciousness, staying directly connected to your source consciousness, that's a forever teaching. And that's the level of oracular activism that we need to step into. Looking at some of these questions, so I just want to make sure. Is this making sense? Is this helpful for our prayer about what's unfolding right now? If you feel like this is helpful, if you have any questions about it, please write it in the live chat. I just want to make sure we're on track here. I know this is a lot. But I was just like, this is the day. Today's the day. I need to talk about this today. I can't hold back from it anymore. And when we speak about our understanding that we don't have to remain in victimhood to the different belief systems we've been programmed into from childhood. It's like, we don't have to accept that. And once you start traveling through your higher self's light up and down to your direct connection to the source, this is why religion doesn't want you to connect directly with God. Oh man. It's like, oh, you start connecting to God, you are shattering this ceiling of the matrix. Someone asked, where does the dark matrix come from? Well, I could spend a lot of hours talking about a lot of these things. So I think for today, I'll just let you know that, like, when the light of God created us with a free will, God gave everyone a free will, all species. And that includes many beings from other parts of the universe that do not have the same feeling spectrum that we have. The Christian Bible calls them demonic entities, that are ruled by this presence, that Christian religions talk about from different names. But ultimately, it's like we've got to understand that, like, everyone has free will. All beings have free will. So when God gave you free will, it's like, it's a big deal, and it's not really a big deal. That's why I say sovereignty is everything, and it's not really that big of a deal too at the same time, because you've got a choice to, in your sovereignty and in your free will, to decide how you're going to evolve and grow in this lifetime in your human body. What are you going to follow? Are you going to follow fear? Are you going to give your power over to these beings? Or are you going to have the courage to claim your direct connection to source, to claim your light, and choose to be in your sovereign free will to serve a higher cause, to serve the angelic mission that you were sent here to serve, which is to bring more divine love into this world, which is to help others awaken by creating space for them to choose divine love and to explore what it would feel like to be brave enough to break out of the belief systems that keep us enslaved. Lisa is asking, how do we help our loved ones who are still caught in the matrix? I've been shouting this from the rooftops now for months. You embody these teachings with all of your heart and mind, and it's not about convincing anyone about them. You share these teachings with those who are like, what are you doing in your life? Because your life is looking a lot better than my life. How are you this bright? How are you this radiant? How are you this fulfilled? How are you this calm? How are you this patient? How are you this peaceful? And if they really want to know, and you're like, well, honestly, I'm practicing mentoring with ascended masters. I've activated spiritual technology in my body that helps me break free of this matrix every day. It's just like, that's the invitation, is your life, your heart. It's just like, we're not here to convince anyone of anything. The other thing that you can do is you can pray for your family, you can pray for your clients, and you can pray for your friends that, you're just like, prayer makes a big difference. And prayer can be as simple as like, hey, I'm visualizing all of my loved ones in the angel wings of God, and you visualize them in the light of God, whatever you call God. Sophia, you could ask Mother Mary, you could ask Isis, you could ask the Sophia dragons to protect them and watch over them. I know it might not seem like a lot, but it's actually far more, it's doing far more than you may realize. And the more that you hold your loved ones in your prayerful intentions, surrounding them with your own angel wings in your mind, but there's also a letting go. And this is a big one for a lot of us as light workers. I shared about this in our opening ceremony of the Sedona conference, which is now available on my website for psychic development training. I really, really encourage everyone to take this training because it's going to help you so much in 2021 and beyond, navigating this field of how to break free of this matrix and stay fully in this world of your radiance and your sovereignty, and assisting others to cross over that bridge, right? Because we as light workers are the bridge keepers between these two worlds. We stand as the bridge with our arms open, ready to help people walk over that bridge when they're ready. When you activate all of your chakra temples to be fully consecrated to your higher self's divine guidance, you will be receiving so many messages about how you can reach your loved ones to walk over that bridge out of this program matrix and into the new the golden age paradigm that we are continuously building every day of our life through our acts of divine love, through our intentions of divine love. Marija is asking, do angels have free will too? Yes, we write about that in chapter 13 of the Sophia Code. Okay, so, Claudia's writing, I feel Joan of Arc's presence tonight. Me too. I'm actually wearing my Joan of Arc pendant and my Joan of Arc wristlet. I'm so glad that you said that, Claudia. Thank you. That's what I was going to share. In my opening ceremony for that psychic development training, we did this ceremony to free ourselves from oaths, vows, and contracts that we made in Lemuria, in Atlantis, in ancient Egypt, and with fallen races that are still in control of this particular matrix that I'm talking about. So it's important to understand that a big reason why we feel so much woundedness around the collective refusing to wake up is because of our previous lifetimes where we couldn't wake up a lot of our loved ones and family members, and they were destroyed in those floods. They were destroyed in Atlantis and Lemuria and, enslaved by these different fallen races. And so we still have this soul memory that we failed. And I need everyone on this call to really get clear that you did not fail your mission then, and you are not failing your mission now. If you know that you are an angel on earth and that you survived Atlantis or Lemuria or at Egypt, please write yes in the live chat. Please show everyone, that you are standing here as a survivor of those times. And those times are deeply impacting these times that we are living in right now. And I share so much about that in our opening ceremony, that psychic development training. We're just like, look at all of these yeses. It's like everyone knows that so much of what we're dreadfully afraid of right now is because of the fall of Atlantis, because of all of the beauty that we lost in Lemuria, because of the really crazy stuff that went down in ancient Egypt with fallen races. It's just like, whoa, we are so nervous that that's what's happening right now, that we're not going to be able to save our loved ones from the same outcome. I am imploring you to remember these teachings, and I will share more about them. Please do that ceremony. Please free yourself of the pain and the shame that somehow you failed. If you know that you are an earth angel right now, serving countless souls, please write in the live chat, I am an earth angel and I am proud of my mission. Please write that right now. I need you to feel proud about yourself. We can no longer give into this shame anymore. We can no longer blame ourselves for souls that have chosen to stay asleep century after century after century. Please write, I love myself as an angel on earth. I am proud of the mission that I have served. I am an angel of many victories. Whatever it is that you can say to yourself and honestly reclaim right now in your heart, that you know somewhere in your soul you didn't fail. There's nothing to be ashamed of. You are thriving. You are making a significant impact. Do not give into the shame game that all of these political agendas would have you believe in. I don't care what spectrum you're on. And thank you. Thank you for choosing to no longer allow this lame matrix to make you feel bad about yourself anymore. I can't tell you how many, like, thousands of angels in human form I've counseled around this world that feel like they're the worst people ever. They barely can acknowledge what great people they are, how many lives they help every day. They're so humble. That's the point of being self-effacing. You know why? Because the angel in the room is the one that's the easiest to beat up. It's like the emotional punching bag in the room, because everybody knows that's the soul that's safe to bring all their crap to. I need you to stop letting people let yourself be a punching bag for people's unresolved stuff. Don't let the collective pain of this matrix and everybody that's decided they're buying into this matrix, don't let them make you feel bad about yourself anymore. Instead, I invite you to start radically loving yourself, because why? You're the one that's literally dialing up to source consciousness and downloading that source consciousness to build a new matrix of light so that we can all get free of this crazy thousands of years enslavement that humanity doesn't even have any idea it's like hooked into. Our sovereignty, our divinity, and our divine love is everything. It is why every day of my life I wake up and I am talking about these teachings. It's why I sell this jewelry, even though people think I'm sold out or something. It's just like they have no idea how many lives, the emails we've received all over the world, people telling us this jewelry is saving my life. It's keeping me in a resonance of sovereignty when everything around me is trying to drag me down. It's just like, that's why I show up to this, because I know we are at a serious, pivotal moment in our timeline. So I really want to thank you for going here with me today, because, there are so many people that are living in abject terror, like shaken in the corner right now because of this election. And I got to tell you, there's a whole lot more to shake in the corner about, other than who's going to sit in that seat for the next 4 years. Because whoever's sitting in that seat for the next 4 years, it's this. That's who they're taking their orders from, not us. So sorry, not sorry to burst everyone's political activist bubble. If political activism makes you feel really good and like you're making a significant impact, I support you. I love you. Thank you for your heartfelt work on this within this matrix. And I just want to assure everyone that our future is not riding on that seat of power, because that seat of power is bought and sold literally on the stock market. Many people don't know this. USA Inc. Incorporated is literally on the stock market. Every day, our country is bought and sold in stocks. So, like, if that isn't a red pill, I don't know what is. We got fish to fry here, okay? Much bigger situation at hand. So wings up, angels. Let's gather right now to make a really powerful prayer for the next quantum timeline. Where's my pen? Oh my God. I'm like so on fire. I don't even know where my pen is. All right. So here's the thing, angels. This is our game plan, okay? Not some seat in a government that's owned, bought, and sold on a stock exchange who's taking orders from another matrix, right? That's not our game plan. Our game plan, our angelic mission is we are here to dial up every day and connect to our sovereign divinity. And then what happens? We start downloading energy, intentions, and building this new matrix that's built on sovereignty. It's built on the truth of our holiness, of our divinity. It's a world that's in alignment with divine will, which seeks to prosper all beyond competition and brings us into a heart-centered, unconditional, and very invincible divine love. That's our true instructor and guide and mentor. That presence of divine love is what's teaching us day by day how to build this world. This is our mission, not this war. All right? And the more we build this world and we walk people over the bridge into this world of sovereignty, what happens? This world may or may not crumble. It may continue, but this world will become more and more physical. I promise you. How do you think this matrix became so physical that it could dupe a couple billion people? It's because people have been thinking these thoughts for so long that it becomes physical. That's the power of thought. But if you start thinking very physical thoughts about your sovereignty and living them and embodying them, being in this world, but not of this world, you're actually living in this third new matrix of sovereignty. And when you engage with others who are trapped in this world, where are you standing? Do you leave this world? No, you stay in the resonance of this world and you stand at the bridge, right? Can you even see yourself as a stick figure there? I can't even. You're standing at the bridge and you're saying, I'm going to be here while I'm engaging with you in that world. That's why it's so, that's why it requires a lot of contemplation to put all the pieces together, because you can be interacting with someone who is enslaved in this world while you are standing in your sovereign reality. I do it every day when I have to go to the gym, or, if I'm just engaging with people that I run into, if I'm doing an errand or picking something up. It's just like, most of the people I engage with are living in that world, other than our mystery school initiates, our clients, the people that we're serving worldwide. I know that these teachings from the Sophia Code are literally walking people over the bridge into this new world that we're birthing, right? And so most of my day, I'm standing in this world. And most people don't know what to think when they see me, because they just know that my energy bodies, my light bodies, everything that I'm embodying is so different that they know that they're staring at somebody that lives in another world within their world. This is why I created the mystery school, the Sophia Code Mystery School, because you got to learn how to live in this world and still navigate and engage with these people in a lower dimensional reality. matrix exists in a different dimensional reality. You want to know how they kidnap and how they enslave and give birth to so many children in military bases, which, by the way, that's where I was born, was in an underground military base. It's because those underground military bases and those children that they're kidnapping and those people they've enslaved, they exist in a different dimensional reality. And then they ship them back and forth into this 3D matrix world. They're just being carted back and forth. So you could have a child that actually has no idea what's happening in this world, because when they get sent back, there's an amnesia as they cross these dimensional realities. So it can take some time for survivors who have survived this other matrix to put the pieces together. Not to mention the depth of like torture and, you know, narcotics that they pump these slaves full of. So they have no memory. Yeah. So circling back here, all right, circling back to the game plan, the angelic game plan, this is your reality, your sovereign divine reality that's being built brick by your higher self. Your relationship with your higher self and your direct relationship with God is going to start operating your human consciousness differently. You do the 8 initiations in this book. You complete them, read them out loud. Your divine genome will be fully activated. Does that mean you'll be operating like a holy sadhu that's been meditating for 40 years straight? No. You're gonna have to start where everybody starts, at the beginning. When you start flipping on the switches of your divine genome and anchoring your higher self's Christ light within your body, you got some work to do. You got to dig deep and start allowing that light to confront you with all the ways that you've been addicted to the lies and to the pain and to the suffering of this world. You got to be willing to roll up your sleeves and get into that inner work. But over time, once you start integrating these teachings, once you start integrating your mentorship with the Ascended Masters, oh my God, you start walking over the bridge from this world into this world. And then you decide, I don't want to live in that world anymore. I want to live in the invincible freedom of my sovereignty. I want to be a part of building this new earth paradigm that I know we can download onto the planet itself. If enough of us decide we're going to live here together in the truth and radiance and embodiment of our sovereign divinity. This is why you have got to embody it fully. This is why I talk about embodiment all of the time. It's not something cool to say just to get more sales. It's because I believe in it 100%. I work out 5 days a week because I know my higher self's light is going to do nothing if it's not in the musculature of my human body. I have to integrate on every level. And so when we get enough people that are like, oh my God, this is everything, to embody the light and learn how to operate my thoughts, learn how to engage with my feelings, how to be in a relationship with my feelings from the perspective of your direct connection to source, which then downloads and feeds this new world. Oh my God. We become a people unto ourselves. We become a self-realized, self-recognized family of light that knows how to operate from the human experience from a completely new context, which becomes so irresistible. How many people you think are going to start wanting to walk over that bridge? They're going to want to start to know a little bit more than just what their chakra can do for them. All right. They're going to want to know, how are you doing what you are doing? How are you thriving when my world is burning down? And you can be like, I'll tell you how. But it's not going to happen overnight, and you're going to have to walk over this bridge, right? So that's why so many of us have been so committed to our inner work and to our path over the past 10 years, getting ready for this moment in history, because it's going to require heart, muscle. It's going to require willpower. It's why I'm wearing my Joan pieces. It's like, I'm going to read to you what's on this Joan wristlet right now. Sobriety, faith, willingness, focus, strength, divine order, Holy Spirit. It's like, you want a different world, that's what it's going to take. And if somebody is selling you something else than that, they're just They're not keeping you in the alignment of what you really came here to do as an angel on earth. I'm going to read that again. Sobriety, faith, willingness, focus, strength, divine order, Holy Spirit. All of those are divine qualities that exist within each and every one of us. But to actually embody them and practice them at this time, oh my God, it's the everything. It requires everything from you and nothing less than that. So it's like, if you're still dabbling with addiction, you're still running to booze, to like deal with all of the emotions. It's like, I'm not judging you. I'm just saying, like, it's not going to serve you over the next 10 years, because the next 10 years, we have an enormous amount of building to do. Seriously, so much ahead of us. And this world, it knows that this could happen at any point. There have been many prophecies that this can happen, but we must be willing to stay so much in our core and our strength and in our power, totally sober to our sobriety and kicking our addiction to shame and codependency, choosing radical self-love and a radical commitment to our self-mastery. Again, not about being perfect or perfectionism. It's about being willing to walk this walk. That's what's going to build this world and keep us on our path. I'm going to share this very interesting example. I was at the dentist's office today, and I've been researching different options for healing something that I've been suffering from for a really long time because of the torture that I survived. And he was talking about the alignment of the jaw. And he said, Kaia, I have this client who was a pilot, and this pilot came to me because he knew somehow that his alignment in his jaw was off. And he said, but he had no pain in his jaw. And he said he had, there was no signs that would have brought him to my office to receive this treatment. And he said, do you know how he knew he needed to be realigned? I said, how? He said, because he wasn't landing his planes completely straight. They were always a little off and tilted to the side. And when I heard that, and I was just so blown away, like I was just like, oh my God, it was affecting how he landed a plane. And he's like, yes. And he said, now every time he lands his plane after he received his treatment, he said, he always gets complimented on his landings, on how he lands the plane, that it's such a smooth landing. And I thought, oh my God, this is such an incredible and potent example of what happens when we get out of alignment with our divinity. Even just even giving into shame just a little bit, where we're misaligned from loving ourselves, and we're just unconsciously hanging on to shame just a little bit. All of that, if you get something that's just a little off course, at first it doesn't look that like a big deal. Oh, it's okay for me to be, a little bit codependent here, codependent there, dabble with this addiction here. But it's just like, you let that go on long enough, what happens is it starts to create a greater and greater misalignment. So interesting. Like, when I think about the impact, if that man hadn't intuitively gone to get that treatment, what if one day that misalignment in his body created such a misalignment in how he was landing the plane that it actually created a serious problem, maybe even deaths for others? Like, his intuition was like, hey, get back into physical alignment so that you can perform your mission better, which is to land that plane safely every time you fly commercially, a bunch of people around. Like, that's his job. So interesting. And so we can apply that teaching of like, where are you in alignment with your higher self, and where are you hiding out from that alignment? Over the next decade, that misalignment is not going to be comfortable. It's going to be very, very painful. So take this opportunity right now to commit to what it's going to take to live in your greatest health, to live in your greatest happiness, to live in your greatest healing, to live in your greatest offering. One day at a time. And that's why I created that 2021 journey, transforming trauma into soul power. We gotta be willing to really claim this journey of getting sober to what is ours to heal and what is ours to thrive within in this lifetime. So I don't know. That was a whole lot of stuff that just came out of me. A lot of information. If it's helpful, I'm so grateful. I I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope it brought peace to you and your heart at this time. And I would love for us to take this closing moment in prayer and in meditation, because I would really love for us to continue to practice what we're doing here, which is we are living in our soul. Thank you. That's very beautiful and kind reflections. Thanks, everyone, in the comment feed. Let's practice dialing in and downloading. And my prayer is I want to strengthen. How do I demonstrate this? Let's strengthen. Okay, if we had the three matrices here, right? We've got the one. This is us. This is the illusion matrix, and this is what's currently in power, right? That's controlling the illusion. But this is us. I'll put angel wings there so we know that that's not us. I'm not saying I'll just cross it out and say family. This is our angelic family. And there's some angel wings. There's a stick person. Okay. Let's strengthen this bridge where as many humans as possible can start walking from this matrix into this world of sovereignty. What do we think about that? And let's create a future timeline. Right? Because there's like a bazillion timelines that humanity can choose right now. And it's choosing some interesting ones. It's choosing a lot of them that I don't want to have anything to do with, honestly. Like, So, future timeline. Let's put a sun here. Future is bright, humanity. Let's do that. Let's go there. Make that sun smile. All right. So we're going to strengthen that bridge and strengthen and pray for humanity's resolve to reach for this higher timeline for our evolution. And no matter what happens over these next few weeks, over these next few months with this election, thing that's unfolding right now, I'd really like to pray for that quantum timeline where we don't dissolve into civil war. It could look like a national civil war, but do not be tricked. If we dissolve into a national civil war, that's just to keep us confused about the global war that's actually unfolding. Okay, so let's begin by remembering that every one of us are existing within our circle of light. So visualizing your circle of light, whatever is the most powerful color or for you that you want to visualize around you today. I'm choosing today the electric blue sapphire flames of Mother Mary and that Sofia dragon pearlescent white light as a circle of light around me. And then what do we do when we call in our circle of empowerment, our circle of divine feminine Christ light? Well, we invoke the 8 directions where we invite the ascended masters that are featured in section 2 of the Sophia Code to surround us in a very powerful resonant field of sovereignty. So this circle that you are in of your own light, it's for you to feel you. It's for you to know your own individual sovereignty. And that's it. It's not, you've got to embody your body completely. You've got to own your body and your heart and your mind completely. No one else has any right to your body, heart, and mind. Even if you are married to the love of your life, your heart still belongs to you. Your body still belongs to you, and you can love somebody outside of yourself, outside of your own body, even more when you are standing clearly in that circle of light. So standing in that circle of light, we invoke in the north, Keycode 7 of the Sophia Code Cosmology, White Buffalo Woman, she of 1,000 white clouds and thunder beings. Behind White Buffalo, supporting her Keycode 7 transmission. I love you all too. Thank you so much for your love. We're welcoming in the White Buffalo Star Nation. We're welcoming in the Order of the Sky Grandmothers. I'm also welcoming in the 6 Grandfathers, and just feeling that immense power, that backup power of these angelic, really, it's like a legion of angelic souls that are here to really initiate you into your divine purpose. When we meet White Buffalo Woman in her channel chapter, it's all about really reclaiming not just your Christ consciousness, that spirit that was described as the great spirit in another time, but it's stepping you into your angelic mission on a whole new level. In the Northeast, we welcome beautiful winged Isis, who's key code 1 of the Sophia Code, she of 1,000 names. In the East, and we're also going to welcome in Saint Germain of the Violet Flame, who is, really, that Violet Flame transmission is so powerful for transmuting negative energy into a positive, helpful, regenerative resonance. In the East, we're going to welcome in Radiant Hathor, who's key code 2 of the Sophia Code, she of 1,000 voices. I'm so happy to also bring in the Hathor Star Nation here in the East, protecting you, guiding you, initiating you, activating you day and night, giving thanks for this Hathor Star Nation that very much cares about the future of our reality. And I'm welcoming in also Sekhmet as a beautiful protector in the East. And I'm really feeling the spirit of Eagle coming in as well, standing with us here with Hathor. In the Southeast, we're going to welcome the amazing Radiant Green Tara, she of 1,000 stars, key code 3 of the Sophia Code. And for those of you who know her mantra, feel free to write it in the live chat. Let's say her mantra together 3 times for a perfect trinity. Om Tare Tutare Tore Soha. Om Tare Tutare Tore Soha. Om Tare Tutare Tore Soha. Yes, so just feeling that Sanskrit resonance that blasts our attachment to suffering just right out of the water. Just feel that beautiful resonance of Green Tara coming in with her Order of Dakinis as her backup choir, massive protectors of our soul and our journey towards enlightenment, which is simply put, the journey of enlightenment is awakening to the truth of your sovereign divinity and deciding to never look away from that light ever again, committing your focus to be that light, to embrace that light, and to allow that light to change you. Now, Mother Mary's coming in the South is key code 4 of the Sophia Code, she of 1,000 roses. We just completed an incredible 7-day journey with her, which you can watch all of the replays here on my YouTube live channel, my YouTube channel. Mother Mary is an exceptional guide for when we're ready to surrender into our divine light, changing our consciousness, transforming our consciousness, elevating our consciousness, right? To really understand that we came here to be embodied way showers of our light and what our light can build, even on a planet that's been imprisoned by a false matrix, that we can actually build a new matrix of consciousness. And Mother Mary is protecting us in that journey. She's guiding us in that journey. She's educating us in that journey. And she's helping us forgive ourselves in that journey, because, there's a lot of grief that we have. There's a lot of sacrifices. There's a lot of interesting learning experiences we've had, and they haven't been pretty, in our journey of awakening. And Mother Mary's love, unconditional love for us, teaches us that it's safe for us to have a learning experience as divine beings in a human incarnation. In the Southwest, I'm welcoming Mary Magdalene, Ascended Master Jesus, the entire Order of Magdalena, and Saint Joan of Arc, who's a part of the Order of Magdalena, and just feeling that incredible angelic presence. Mary Magdalene is she of 1,000 angels in the Sophia Code, and I'm also welcoming in Archangel Michael, and literally billions of guardian angels in Archangel Michael's I guess angelic tribe order is a better way to say it. And just feeling the presence, also welcoming Archangel Raphael, Archangel Gabriel, Uriel, Jophiel, Gideon Amakuel, Ariel, Shamuel, Zadkiel, and just feeling the presence of these archangels, lifting up the resonance, lifting up the pain and the anxiety, the fear, the doubt, and just allowing you to deepen even more acutely and clearly and with greater sobriety and lucidity into your human body. In the West, we welcome Kuan Yin, she of 1,000 waters, and just feeling her compassionate grace and her fierce love, and how as soon as Kuan Yin arrives, she is an incredible mentor for activating your psychic abilities, for activating your intuition. And she was one of our most powerful sessions in that psychic development training I was sharing about earlier in this call. Behind her is coming through Maha Avatar Babaji. And finally, in the Southwest, the Northwest, we're welcoming in the Holy Seraphim of the Divine Mother, the Sophia Dragons. Keycode 777 of the Sophia Code Cosmology, she who births sovereign creators. And that's exactly who you are. You are a sovereign creator. And so I know a lot of us, I'm seeing in some of the live chat, even as we're invoking the circle of light, that, I know sometimes it's a struggle, but I just really invite you to take 3 deep breaths into your circle of empowerment. Let's do that together. For those of you who are feeling really strong, let's send some extra prayers out to those of that are on this live chat or in this field right now, collective field that needs some extra support. And don't we all on certain days? So just breathing in and exhaling out, wings up, angels. Breathing in, exhaling and expanding your radiance, angels. Breathing in. Exhaling. Feeling how you come right up to the edge of that circle and how the presence of the Ascended Masters and Archangels and all of your guardian angels are deeply, deeply ministering to you right here and right now in this moment. And I welcome Hathor and the Sophia Dragons to step forward and stand with you at this time. You may feel Hathor's, and if you're like, oh, Hathor, she's a little too over the top for me, we can also welcome in Mother Mary, who is a Hathor. So she can come with Hathor to be with you and to bless you and to really open up your heart to this prayerful activation that wants to come through. I'm going to read a quote from the Sophia Code as a part of this prayer for our future. So I am turning to page 308. Now, this is the words of the Sophia Dragons, okay? So I'm gonna start with a paragraph that begins at the top of the page. And just you can read this with me out loud, but you can also just receive. I invite you to just receive as Hathor, Mother Mary, and the Sophia Dragons really minister to your body, heart, and mind right now. Page 308. The Sophia Dragons share, no matter how these issues may enrage, confound, or sadden you, your feelings can be gathered as a great momentum that bypasses the minefields of duality, right? That's what we're in right now. We're all facing the minefields of duality. You can harness the passion of what you feel as fuel for a spiritual revolution that will require a great stamina for the steadfast embodiment of your Sophia Christ light. So if you're like, oh my God, Donald Trump is going to save America and expose all the pedophiles, you can take all of that passion and bring it back to yourself. Or if you're like, oh my God, Joe Biden is the answer, he's the everything, the Democrats are going to save us, you can take all of that passion and put it back into your own heart right now. Like, I'm not judging you no matter what you believe in or who you believe in. I'm just saying, let's read this paragraph again. No matter how these issues may enrage, confound, or sadden you, your feelings can be gathered as a great momentum that bypasses the minefields of duality. Remember, those minefields of duality are what are keeping so many people here in this world, right? In this prison matrix, right? Let's keep going. So what happens? You can harness the passion of what you feel as fuel for a spiritual revolution that will require a great stamina. The Sophia dragons are not blowing hot air up your butt. They are telling you this revolution is going to require stamina. Where is the eternal regenerative source of all stamina? Your source, your higher self, your divinity. That is the only thing that is profoundly and eternally regenerative. Next line. This is your lifetime to lead as a beacon of attunement for others. Whew. And by the way, I know that every Sophia Circle leader out there that's serving right now, offering Sophia Circle journeys throughout this world, our global leaders, I just want to say how much I know you live this teaching. And I want to thank you from every part of my heart for all the ways that you are showing up to that ministry right now. Let's keep going. You are one, you are one of the innumerable light workers from across this universe incarnating on earth at this time to birth, not fight. Did you see that? To birth a spiritual revolution of Sophia Christ consciousness, including the return of the divine feminine Christ, which activates the sovereignty of humanity. Okay, after you go through this, does that make more sense? If it does, write yes in the live chat. This is like the more we understand this prayer, the more we become empowered as angels in human form. Like the more educated we are about what's really going on, the more power, the more fuel and momentum, all of this makes sense. And the more we can embody it, right? Yes, I'm loving this, that we're all on the same page here. Okay, let's keep going. So that's why we need our divine feminine Christ consciousness, that intuition within us. That's what gives us access to activate the divine genome within us. Divine feminine Christ consciousness is the intuitive pathways within that remember those that highway to source that we each have as a direct connection. That's the feminine. The masculine is what protects, grounds, and anchors that connection within your human body. This spiritual revolution does not require that you fight against anyone or anything. Right? These are the holiest seraphim of God they're pointing us back to the truth of why we're really here. If we get caught up in the minefields of duality and we really, really get stuck on that blame train or that shame game of thinking one political party is going to save us over another, like you're getting distracted from the source of your power to birth a world beyond this broken world. This world is broken. Like I'm not going to say it's anything less than that. That's just real. And it is getting more broken down by the day. So the more we can focus on the source of our power to birth a completely new world, the better off we're all going to be in this revolution. So let's read that next line. It is by far my favorite line in the entire book of the Sophia Code. This is a revolution of your own divinity, commanding miracles to dissolve all obstacles that are in your way. Boom. Resourcing your divinity to immaculately birth a new world paradigm is the most revolutionary act that you can commit. That's it. That's the whole reason why there are over 300 pages of teachings in here. It's those two lines, right? It's to fulfill why we came here. This is a revolution of your own divinity, commanding miracles to dissolve all obstacles that are in your way. Resourcing your divinity to immaculately birth a new world paradigm is the most revolutionary act that you can commit. How do you birth and command those miracles? Remember, you're going up and you're downloading, right? You're not calling upon miracles from your power here, from your human body that's connected to this matrix. You are going up into your source, your higher self, and then you're downloading into this new paradigm that we are birthing through our consciousness, which then manifests literally into form, because that's how consciousness works. From the nothing comes the something. Why did they write immaculately birth a new world? Did you ever catch that? Immaculate? Because we're talking about an immaculate conception. This world is an immaculate conception because we've never done this before. We've never created a completely sovereign world for humanity to finally embody its divinity. That in its entirety, never been done. We've had golden ages where part of the population has experienced that, but never an entire world. Let's see what's possible in this lifetime. It's certainly not going to happen overnight. It's a marathon. It is definitely a marathon. So let's just take this moment now that we've deepened in those teachings from the Sophia dragon tribe, which are kind of the everything, right? At this time. And you're here with Hathor inside your prayer. And I invite you to imagine that you are in this temple right now within your circle of light, and that Hathor is activating this larger prayer that your higher self has, prayed you into this reality to be a part of this angelic mission, to be a part of the Sophia Code movement, to be a part of the divine feminine Christ awakening on this planet. Your own higher self is praying you to be here. Nobody dropped you off on the wrong bus stop here on planet Earth during this really intense time. Like, you chose it. And so I invite you to feel the energy of your divinity. I invite you to feel your, what would feel really good for you as a gift that you want to give to humanity. Like, if you saw someone that was beaten down and broken up for a really long time, what would be the first thing you want to give to that person? You probably want to give them some food, a place to have a nice shower, and then maybe a hug, if they were to even be able to receive a hug. Most of humanity's not even ready for the hug. But how about just the love? What if we just send humanity the love right now? Because the humanity really needs the love in that world. Whoa. So from your angel wings, from your beautiful heart, in this beautiful union with Hathor, the star nations, the archangels, the ascended masters, in the light and fire of your own direct communion with the source, I invite you to just radiate divine love in every direction across this planet, to every country, to every person, in all the worlds of form that are overlaid on this planet, in every dimensional reality. And let's broadcast this message that humanity, you are sovereign. Humanity, you are divine. Humanity, there is a higher timeline waiting and ready for you. And we, as an international, as a global community of light workers, we are creating the space and we are creating the foundation of that world, that sovereign world filled with invincible divine love, for you to walk over the bridge from the matrix that you have been entrapped in and you have been enslaved into. Our hearts are the bridge. And we are sending you divine love from this world that we are building every day of our lives through our intentional prayer and through our daily embodiment. We send you this love. We send you healing light. And we send you assurance that you can choose this timeline, that it is safe to choose to go within and to find the same light that we have found within us. You can find this light within you as well. And I would just invite everyone on this call to just visualize a highway of light that runs from the matrix that so many billions of souls are currently enslaved to. Just visualize with me a highway of light running to a new reality. Maybe you want to picture it a new planet. I don't care how you visualize it. Maybe you just see a beautiful city of light where everyone is just acknowledged and honored, proud of who they are, contributing, feeling their direct connection to source, honoring and respecting one another, really happy to be in form, eating really great, healthy food. Their genetics haven't been mutilated or tampered with. And even their DNA is just radiating with the light of their divine genome, because the divine genome can actually fix genetic mutilation of the human body. A world where everyone is actually connected to their source. Worlds exist like that out in the multiverse, by the way. Many of you who are starseeds come from those worlds. And that's why you airdrop down, boots on the ground as an angel in human form. And I'm feeling the musculature, I'm feeling the solidity of that highway of light that we are co-creating through this prayer right now, along with Hathor and all of the Ascended Masters. And we call forth the Sophia Dragon Tribe. We call forth all the Masters of Light that are a part of this High Council. And we say, this is the timeline that we are choosing on behalf of humanity who can barely think a thought for itself. We command and choose the highest and best good for humanity's evolution. We ask for divine interventions of grace on every dimensional level of our reality. Within all the matrices of form that are interfacing with planet Earth, we call upon those divine interventions of grace to unfold and unfurl with billions of angel wings divinely interceding on all levels of reality, bringing forward truth, opening the minds and the hearts of those who are finally ready to awaken, assuring them that it is safe, because enough of us have awakened now at this time, that we can embody what it looks like to wake up to the truth of our divinity on their behalf, that it is safe, that it can be done in a good way. It doesn't have to be some weird spiritual fish flopping around on the ground, whacked out experience. We can just be amazing human beings that are grounded, powerful, and radiant, smart, intelligent, successful, multidimensional, but very present and clear in our human bodies. Thank you, Ascended Masters, for guiding so many of us to really begin to embody a far more spiritually mature spirituality in our communion with the source. And we stand with our wings up as way showers that this highway of light is now protected. It is a creation that is now being protected within the heart of God. We command these doors to be open, and we command guardians of the highest seventh plane resonance to stand at this highway, so that those souls who are ready to travel across this highway of light for humanity's evolution, that there's no going back, that as they cross over, they arrive safely in that paradigm of sovereignty, and that they remain there, and that we as way showers of this sovereign Christ light, that we become clearer and stronger and even more educated, as guided and mentored by you, Ascended Masters, in how to be exceptional teachers of this space, how to really continue to create this space and evolve as leaders and teachers and healers of this sovereign space. Like, to take a responsibility that it's one thing to create the space, but then you've got to nurture it. Then you've got to grow it. Then you've got to expand it and be willing to expand with it. And so thank you, Holy Mother, Holy Father God. Thank you to all of our I Am collective I Am presence for guiding us in deeper and deeper awakenings to our own spiritual potential of being very mature, embodied way showers at this time. Thank you to all the Ascended Masters that are contributing their light and their intention and their prayers and their passion and their energy to this highway that we are birthing for humanity to reclaim its sovereign divinity. And I give thanks that this transmission is occurring in the 7th plane where instantaneous miracles and divine knowing exist. I give thanks that this transmission is for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, and for no one else at this time. I give thanks that this Holy Spirit presence of divine love, this of an invincible light, is surrounding every single person that is participating in this massive global grid work and light work. And I give thanks that I know as a community of Christ and Buddhic consciousness, we now declare as a collective that it is done. It is done. It is done. And so it is. By the power of 3, a perfect Trinity, it is done. Amen. Well, wow. That feels really good. Thank you so much, everyone, for just coming together. It doesn't take much to start building a highway. Really, it just takes a willingness to come together and gather and just command that it is so. And then allow our higher selves to continue to tend to this highway, this highest quantum potential for humanity's future. And for us to, invoke and the Ascended Masters and Archangels joining us in this co-creation. Your star families, if you're connected to your star families, it's just like, it is done. But it does require us as boots on the ground to say, hey, we want a divine intervention of grace right now. In fact, we would like many. In fact, we would like to co-create with you. In fact, let's build this together. Ascended Masters, Star Nations, beautiful angelic guides, Holy Spirit, presence of God. This is us acting as sovereign co-creators. And I want to thank you so much for choosing to be here. So clear and lucid and sober and present to this prayer and these teachings. I had no idea this was going to happen today, but as I was beginning to watch the media really spin a big part of the world population into confusion and panic, I was like, no way. We got to call in peace. We got to get super sober to what we should really be focused on at this time. And we got to get busy co-creating our intentions and how we're going to commit to birthing this heaven on earth paradigm, immaculately birthing something. It's like when we come together as a collective, we are surpassing the outer collective doubt, and we are taking faith and we are resourcing our collective faith, and we are resourcing our collective light, and we're saying, no. Okay, yeah, I see how much this media that is owned by that outer matrix completely and entirely, owned by that outer matrix. I see how it's trying to spin me and everyone else into a frenzy of fear. And I'm just not going to play that game today. So I want to thank you for deciding that you're not going to play that game. You're going to choose the sovereign creatorhood game today. And please, if this transmission is bringing you peace, feel free to return to it if you need to feel peace again over the next few days or over the next week. I'm just so grateful to be able to be here with each of you and to co-create this experience so that as many people as possible can, receive whatever peace or teachings that bring them a greater harmony during these very challenging times. And thank you for your participation in the 7 days of Mother Mary. So grateful for all your support. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please be sure to do that. And if this transmission is helpful for you, I love the live chats. It's also really, really helpful when you add comments to the replay video. It really helps other people feel as though they can explore this work for themselves, because as we all know, this work is very sophisticated on a metaphysical level. And so when people first approach it, they might be like, whoa, I don't know what's going on here. And that's fair. There's a lot going on here. And so, your testimonials, your reflections really help advocate for people to take the time to explore these transmissions for themselves. I love you all so much. I couldn't be more proud of us as an international community. Thank you for sharing, liking, subscribing, and most importantly, far more importantly, thank you for your courage. Thank you for being you. Thank you for staying grounded. And thank you for tuning in live tonight. All my love to you. We'll see you again soon. Namaste.